The ADDIE model is a tool used by trainers, learning specialists, and instructional designers to outline and craft instruction for schools and businesses. The ADDIE model is applied to creating many types of instructions to help people perform well in the classroom and on the job, such as teaching new call center employees to provide quality customer service experiences, and help medical professionals learn how to use a new patient data software. ADDIE is an acronym that stands for Analysis, Design, Development, Implement, and Evaluate. Analysis is the first stage of the ADDIE model, where you identify the learning problems, goals, and objectives. Also, the learner and learning environment, delivery method, and timings for the project are identified. Subject matter experts are interviewed, and research is conducted on the subject. In the analysis stage, we start with instructional goals, then instructional analysis, learner analysis, and learning objectives. Starting with your instructional goal. Let's say a busy chef hired you to teach his nephew how to make spaghetti. For the training to be productive, you need to clearly define the outcome. Will he need to know how to make pasta with Alfredo or marinara sauce? The chef in this case is a subject matter expert who you will talk to find out what type of spaghetti he wants his nephew to learn how to make. This will be the instructional goal. In this case, he wants his nephew to learn how to make pasta al dente with meatballs and a tomato-based sauce. Instructional analysis. You will record each step in the task of your instructional goal. In making spaghetti and meatballs, you record boil noodles, roll and bake meatballs, and mix sauce ingredients, then simmer. But you need to give a lot of detail here. Don't forget how to make pasta, where to purchase it, ingredients such as type of meat. Will this be turkey or beef for the meatballs? Your pan size, oven temperature, and so forth. Every little detail to get you from the beginning to the end of your instructional goal. Your instructional diagram will look something similar to this. A flow chart showing paths of instruction. This includes the instruction itself, the outcomes, assessments, and so forth. Include every aspect of the learning in your chart as it relates to the instructional goal and learning objectives. It is common to update information on the chart as new information becomes available during the analysis stage. Learner analysis is where you find out what the learner already knows about the subject matter, so you don't waste time on material they already know. If you are training one person, you can speak to them directly on the matter. If you have a group of learners, you can conduct a survey of questions or speak to a subject matter expert. So after talking with the chef's nephew, you discover he already knows how to make tender beef meatballs. In this case, you will not need to include instruction on preparing meatballs for this class. Next, you will identify learning objectives that will describe what the learner will be able to do following the instruction. This will include skills, knowledge, and attitude. Answer: at completion of this course, students will be able to blank. Fill in the blank. Be as specific as possible using heavy verbs to define action. The learning goal in our case is to have chef's nephew make a plate of spaghetti with meatballs and a tomato-based sauce. Now be specific on the actions of the learning objectives. Given the plate of spaghetti and meatballs recipe, instructional videos, and live demonstration, learners will gather ingredients and cooking utensils, boil noodles al dente style, mix and roll beef meatballs, then bake until tender in a 400-degree oven and create an Italian-style thickened tomato sauce. They will be able to plate the dish and clean their workstation. Those are your learning objectives, based on the instructional goal. Design is the second stage of the ADDIE model, where you specify how instruction will flow. Detailed storyboards and prototypes are created that demonstrate the graphic design, user interface, and the content is then determined. Subject matter experts and clients, as well as bosses, are presented with these materials in order to review and approve. During the design phase, there are 3 steps. You create the assessments, choose delivery method, and decide upon the sequence of instruction. Create assessments to test the learner's knowledge based on what you learned from the analysis stage of the ADDIE model. You should cover the learning goals. The assessments should be based on the instruction materials. No trick questions, as they do not meet learning objectives. Chef's nephew will be confused and frustrated if he were asked who invented the first electric pasta machine, or throw in a tricky math problem that includes measurements not relating to this instruction. Now choose a delivery method that is based on the assessment stage. Should Chef's nephew use a computer, be taught in a classroom with a teacher, simply read material? How are you going to deliver this teaching on making spaghetti? Based on the analysis stage, you found it appropriate to have Chef's nephew watch a safety video on slicing vegetables properly with a sharp knife, and also how to clean and prepare a workstation. He will have written instruction that will help him learn how to follow a recipe properly. He will also have the recipe. These will be printouts for him. And then he will watch a live demonstration of his uncle preparing pasta al dente style, rolling and baking meatballs, and cooking sauce, and then plating a dish. Now you will decide a sequence, the order of the instructional learning and how it will take place. Will he watch the video first or the live demonstration first? You found it appropriate during the analysis stage that he's going to watch the videos first, and he's going to watch a live demonstration while having the reading material in hand, and then study after the live demonstration, and then have a few practice sessions followed by live tests in order to pass the course. Finally, for a follow-through activity, the learner will be asked to make a spaghetti and meatballs dinner with a tomato sauce for 3 of his friends. This will be observed by the instructor. Development is the 3rd stage of the ADDIE model, where you create the content and learning materials based on what you found out during the analysis stage. Previous versions of training material may be found and updated for this training, and new materials created. Assessments of learning objectives are designed to assess skills, performance, behavior, and knowledge. Finally, a trial run will occur for the instruction on a sample audience to see if learning occurred. Create content. Create a sample of the instruction and show it to the subject matter expert, or the client, who in this case is our chef. Get some feedback and change direction, update as needed. Keep sending for review, receiving feedback, and updating until they are happy and you're going in the right direction. Now's the fun part. Gather and create course materials. Find the best video on technique for chopping vegetables. Write all the training material and make the recipe easy to read and follow. Have all the assessments ready, set up a time to have chef demonstrate, and schedule the training. Now it's time for a trial run. Find a couple of sample learners who are willing to try out your course. They should fit the demographic of your actual learners based on the analysis stage information. You found Henry, who is the same age as your learner and who is unfamiliar with making spaghetti meatballs or a tomato-based sauce. Henry will use all the training material and create a plate of food. You will observe and look for when Henry becomes stuck, is unclear on a task, and then you will make notes in order to change the material later. Provide a survey for Henry to fill out at the end of his experience to help you learn from his perspective what went right and what went wrong. Update material based on what you learned, and you will have a great training. Implementation is the fourth stage of the ADDIE model, where actual learning occurs. Preparing the learner and the trainer, instruction materials are distributed to the learner, and they're ready to go. During the implement stage, there will be training of the trainer, you will ready the learners, and the environment is prepared for instruction. If you're not the instructor, you may have to train the trainer. Show them the instructional material, the sequence, and where the training will be located. This means you'll teach them how to use the material, the order that the material will be presented to the learner, show them the assessments, how they work, and how to grade them. Introduce them to any guest speakers ahead of time, and discuss time frame for delivery. You're the instructor, so go ahead and simply review the material and prepare yourself. To ready the learners, you will first let them know when to start class, materials they may need to bring to class, and what will be provided. Give them any handouts needed for class, either ahead of time or on arrival. Inform them of any prerequisites, how long instruction will take, and what the learning objectives are. So Chef's nephew knows through an email you sent him to be at his uncle's kitchen at 8 a.m. on Saturday for his first class, and 4 more Saturdays thereafter. In the email, you sent a link to the video that you want him to watch prior to starting class on Saturday. He also knows based on the email to come with an apron. To ready the environment, you will ensure that the kitchen is clean, all the ingredients and utensils are in place, and materials are printed. If instruction were in a meeting room, then it would be important to ensure computer and projectors are working, and that refreshments are available, as well as extra pens and paper, printed material are available for the learners. For online classes, have students check to make sure they can log in to their course shell with a working ID and can view all the material available and that links are working properly. Evaluation is the last stage of the ADDIE model, where after knowledge transfer occurs, the materials are evaluated through a formative and a summative evaluation process. Formative evaluation is present in each stage of the ADDIE model. Summative evaluation consists of tests designed for criterion-related referenced items and providing opportunities for feedback from the users. Revisions are made as necessary. Did your learners achieve the learning objective? A formative evaluation is a method of judging the worth of the learning program while the program activities are forming or happening. Formative evaluation focuses on the process. Formative evaluation typically involves qualitative feedback rather than scores by both the student and the instructor that focus on the details and content of the performance. So ask yourself, did Chef's nephew, given the spaghetti and meatball recipe, instructional videos, and live demonstrations, gather the ingredients and cooking utensils, boil noodles al dente style, mix and roll beef meatballs and bake until tender in a 400-degree oven, and create an Italian-style thickened tomato sauce? Did he plate the dish and clean the workstation? Did Chef's nephew have any problems? If so, what were they? Update the training as needed, and maybe create some follow-up trainings or refresher trainings as needed for this scenario. A summative evaluation refers to the process of evaluating the learner and then summarizing it. Create a Likert scale survey to present to your learner after learning occurs that asks questions about the instruction. There are usually 5 degrees in this type of scale that answer from strongly agree to strongly disagree. Pose questions that ask whether something occurred, was understood, was clear in order to get the feedback you need to revise your training material. So go ahead and ask Chef's Nephew, did the video demonstrate proper food safety technique in the kitchen? Was the instruction clear and easy to read in following the recipe? Did the explanation of al dente style make sense? Now you understand the ADDIE model and can work through analysis, design, development, implementation, and evaluation stages in creating your next instructional design process.